It's been an absolute party over the course of the last day and a half with everybody and their brother talking about how bad this Brooklyn experience has been. And it has, for a lot of reasons. Should KD have partnered with Kyrie, a very, very finicky person who's not very reliable and isn't exactly a guy that you can count on in a lot of different ways? Yeah, I disagree with that strategy. Was Steve Nash the right coach for the job? Maybe not. Was it worth it to sell to go after James Harden, knowing everything that was wrong with him? Yeah, probably not. But they did fine in the trade on the back end, right? There are some moves there that I disagree with. Moves on the periphery, going after really old guys like LaMarcus Aldridge and Paul Millsap and Blake Griffin. Yeah, those are moves that I disagree with. But at the same time, let's be honest about what they have going forward. They've got Ben Simmons coming back. I'm not surprised that he's not going to play in Game 4. Just doesn't make sense to risk his back under the circumstances, right? I've got Joe Harris coming back, 6'5", mobile shooter who is an okay defensive player, significantly improved offensive player over a bunch of the options that they've had to play in this series. And then Ben Simmons gives you some of that physical presence that they were lacking in this series. So that's a massive influx of talent coming into this next season. And again, Kyrie and KD are aging, but they're not old yet, so you can probably expect that KD and Kyrie are going to be mostly KD and Kyrie next year. Not to mention, if there's no vaccine mandate, as long as Kyrie doesn't just disappear without telling everybody for a month, chances are they won't be a 7 seed. Chances are they'll be a higher seed. They'll have more talent. Is Brooklyn going to win the title next year? I don't know. They're not going to be favored. So it's not like a question of like, oh, just wait for Brooklyn next year. They're going to run everybody over. All I'm saying is don't dance on their grave just yet. They have moves to make. They have talent coming into the fold. They're going to be good. A lot of people did this with the 2019 Lakers. Oh, LeBron's bringing wine to the bench. Oh, LeBron's getting blocked on game winners. LeBron looks washed. And then they were holding the trophy the next year because they made some savvy moves in the offseason, brought in a superstar player in Anthony Davis, and a lot of things changed. So don't write off Brooklyn just yet. So let's move on to KD. I have always hated this about the way that we talk about NBA players, and it's a very very Twitter-fueled dynamic with a lot less focus on what's actually happening on the court and a lot more opportunistic slander. And we had today on TNT, Charles Barkley give a perfect example of what I'm talking about with his comments on KD. I want to show you guys this clip first, and then I will respond to it.
Let me tell you something. I don't want to badmouth the dude, but I see you guys always talk about that championship stuff. I try to tell y'all, all these bus riders, they don't mean nothing to me. If you ain't driving the bus, don't walk around and talk about you a champion. If you riding the bus, I don't want to hear it. Come on, Shaq, tell them. All these guys walk around with these championship rings. Hey, y'all bus riders. But let me tell you something. When you the bus driver and you got all that pressure where you have to play well or you're going to get the blame, that's a different animal.
That literally sounds like a tweet from a faceless account underneath like something random that KD would tweet in the middle of the summer. That's the kind of discourse that we're getting surrounding this. And it's disappointing to me on a bunch of different levels. First of all, throw some credit to Boston. How many times, like KD is as rounded and confident and experienced a superstar as you have in this league, and they have literally cut him off at the knees in this series. Give some credit to Boston. That's a huge part of this. The second part of it is the obsession to make this about head-to-head matchups instead of team basketball. I told you guys before this postseason even started, I said I'm not looking forward to the Celtics potentially beating the Nets and everyone saying Tatum's better than KD now. And the reason why I said that is because I knew this would happen, because this is how we respond to this sort of thing. I try to be consistent with this kind of stuff. In 2017 and 2018, I thought LeBron James was the best basketball player in the world by a comfortable margin. He had just firmly demonstrated it against Steph Curry in 2016. And then this is what happened. The 73-win Warriors that just went to 7 games with LeBron, requiring a game-winning pull-up jump shot from Kyrie Irving and a monster, amazing block from LeBron James to get the trophy. After that game, Kevin Durant signed with the Golden State Warriors. So Everyone with a brain knew that they were going to probably win the next year. And guess what they did? They won 15 playoff games before they lost one. They had injuries during the season and still won 67 regular season games. They were an incredibly dominant team. And what was everyone saying after that series? Oh, KD outplayed LeBron. KD's better than LeBron. Get to 2018. Now Kyrie's out of the picture. So same talented Warriors team, one less Kyrie Irving. And the Cavs get swept, and everyone's like, KD's better than LeBron. Look at him outplaying LeBron. Look at him hitting this massive dagger shot over LeBron in Game 3. And it was unfair then, and it's unfair now. Basketball is a team sport. I know it seems like fun and it's entertaining to pretend as though it's so that it's just this like little mano-a-mano boxing match, but that's not the way it works. That's incredibly lowbrow analysis. And so I'm going to call it out when I see it. I thought that was really lame from Charles Barkley. Now, with KD, has he been great in this series? No. KD deserves some criticism. He has not been impactful enough on the defensive end and as a rebounder. That could have been a swing factor in this series. I have to criticize him for that. Throughout his entire career, he's always put that as less important than some of the scoring areas of his game. I believe had he embraced that throughout his career, we'd probably be having a different conversation about Kevin Durant potentially being the greatest basketball player ever right now. That's something I've consistently criticized him for. His inability to handle physicality has been a problem in this series. Has not been a problem at almost any other point in his career. Not since like the Memphis Grizzlies in 2013 or whatever have we seen a team really disrupt KD with physicality. But in this series, it's been a problem. He's been worn down off the ball. When he gets to his shots, he's missing shots he normally makes, and I believe that's a huge part of that. He has struggled with Jayson Tatum in isolation defense because of the physicality and his ability to press up on KD and his inability to thrive in that physical environment. That's fair criticism. Also, he has not made enough high-level reads. We talked about that in detail earlier in this segment. He needs to be able to make a defense pay for being that aggressive. That's all fair criticism. KD did not play good enough in this series. That is fair. But he could have played way better and they still would have lost. That's how good this Boston team is. Kevin Durant could have exerted more in the physical areas of the game of defense and they still would have lost. Kevin Durant could have made more of these pull-up jump shots and they still would have lost. It just would have been in 5 or 6 games instead of in 4. And so what I'm saying is, like, if you want to get on there and you want to show clips and talk about KD missing reads, I'm right there with you. That's fair criticism. Let's do it. But this lame 30,000 feet, his rings are frauds, he's not a real champion, he sucks at all this stuff, that to me is just really, really lame analysis. And I would hope that at some point we would be better than that. And most importantly, if I swapped LeBron and KD in this series and LeBron ran all of these possessions that KD is running, would it have looked different? Potentially, meaning like Boston probably doesn't help as much. Boston's probably less aggressive. Boston probably tries to turn LeBron into a scorer, but I still think Brooklyn loses. Why? Because Boston is one of the best defenses I've ever seen, and they're the better team in this series. So let's just, if you want to be critical of KD, that's fine. Let's just at least keep it, fair, if that makes sense.